What's going on, guys? My name is Eldeniro, and welcome to another episode of The Midnight Hour. I'm joined today by usual co-host Jack. Oh, wait, no, I'm not. Jack has been controversially suspended from the show for failing a drugs test. We did a mandatory drugs test at the Midnight Hour HQ. I passed with flying colours, apart from all of the traces of methamphetamine in my system, but we allow those in the podcast. And in fact, they're encouraged. But, it turned out that Jack was using performance-enhancing drugs, which, to do a podcast, I don't even know what that is, but he failed the drugs test, and now he's suspended from the show and has to live with himself. So anyways, the episode you're about to listen to is me and Luce Moore. He's a good friend of mine, and we discuss the nature of hype, how hype can ruin things, how hype can get you in the right frame of mind to watch a thing, stuff like that. It's mostly just me and Luce Moore talking about movies and music, but I mean, without those two topics, what would this podcast even be, I ask you? Probably nothing is what you should be saying to yourself right now. This episode, straight up, is sponsored by Bucket Rocket Design. It's not a sponsorship in the sense that the guy who runs this website has paid me money for it, because he hasn't. He's a friend of mine. His name is Simon, and he's fucking awesome at designing stuff. So if you need anything done for your own website, your own podcast, your Twitter icon, anything, hit him up at facebook.com/Bucket Rocket Design. That's Bucket, if anyone is confused about my accent and the way that I'm pronouncing it. But you may notice that something is different in the thumbnail, and that is the new Midnight Hour design. I know you guys all hate change, and change is this terrible thing, but the fucking logo is incredible. Just look at it, for fuck's sake. It's ridiculous. So that's what we're going to be coming into in all future episodes from here on out, of which there will be one before we disappear for another year. For real though, I am actually having difficulty finding guests for the show at the moment. It's sort of, I guess, with me having a busy schedule with work and a full-time job and all that stuff, I just don't really have the time to network quite like I used to. So if you guys have any people in mind that you would like to be on the show, feel free to leave a comment, and I will address it at a later date and never get back to you and never have that person on the show. For real though, if you could just go on to Bucket Rocket Design's Facebook page and leave them a like, I would really, really, really appreciate it. The quality of the images are just really, really, really good, and they deserve way more than 89 likes on that Facebook page. So go there and leave a like. You may never intend to actually get any images made for yourself, but if you like it, someone you know might see it and they might be like, oh, I need an image for my new porn website that I was thinking of making involving goats and such. And then, Bucket Rocket Design might come out with the big guns and actually make them some nice designs for their website. You never know. But just fucking leave a like on it. I'd really appreciate it. If this episode happens to be on iTunes on the off chance that I figured that out, go and leave a like on it there. But it almost certainly is not, because I just cannot wrap my head around that. You have to be like a fucking astronaut who works for NASA to figure out how to work iTunes. That's a weird reference to a Twitter account that makes that kind of joke all the time, so I don't think many of you will get that. Something else I forgot to add. I've had to do this intro 3 times now because there's so many things that have happened since the last time, guys. Some amazing soul has gone and made a subreddit for the Midnight Hour. Now, I don't really know what that means anyway, because I don't use Reddit, but I do have a Reddit account, and it's just reddit.com/r/Midnight Hour. And if you guys want to discuss the podcast, I think you should go there. If you have a Reddit account, all the better. But I would really like to read the stuff that you have to say about the show over there. And it seems like a better place to get everyone together, because there's people who listen on SoundCloud, there's people who listen on YouTube, there's people who listen to it, they download it from their phone and listen to it on their phone. And then there's other people who listen to it through a telepathic sort of audio wave, which is freaky as hell. But anyway, go to the Reddit link. I will leave it in the description of both SoundCloud and YouTube, and if you are one of the telepathic freaks, I will beam it into your brain. I think that's all I had to say on that. It's just really cool. I was really surprised when I saw it, and I think it's awesome. There's only fucking 10 posts on the whole thing overall, but still, just go there. Bring it some activity. Say things about me, nice things, so that I can read them. But anyway, god damn it, a license to ramble is so fucking dangerous in my hands. We're going to start the episode now. You're about to hear The Importance of Being Idle by Oasis, and it's going to be a live version because I'm hoping to avoid copyright infringement on this episode, however unlikely that may be at the moment. If you don't like Oasis, it's relevant to the episode, alright? They have an album called Don't Believe the Truth. This is called Don't Believe the Hype. We talk about Oasis at some point during it. Just enjoy the fucking song and stop being a bitter nerd.
But he said, son, the bills are waiting. My best friend called me the other night. He said, man, are you crazy? My girlfriend told me to get a life. She said, boy, are you lazy? I don't mind, as long as there's a bed beneath the stars that shine.
No power in the verse can stop me.
Yeah. Okay. I'll do it again.
Okay.
So how have you been, man?
Yeah, good. Yeah.
Keeping busy?
No.
Alright. Yeah, same. I've started spending my weekends in lately,
Oh yeah.
which is great. It's a great money saver, and it's a great way to stay in shape.
No, I really agree. I don't go anywhere anyway, just because I really prefer sort of indoor oxygen, if that's a thing.
Yes. It's called carbon monoxide.
Outdoor oxygen is overrated for me.
Your Skype says that you're still in Miami, by the way.
I don't know why it would.
So for a man saying he doesn't go anywhere, I
Does it?
can't help but feel like that's a lot. Yeah, it does. Loosemore, Miami. The time is 21:05, which is the same time as it is here, so that's interesting. So today we're talking about things that we're excited about, and I guess the undercurrent or the theme of the episode will just be the nature of hype itself, because hype is a very powerful thing. I find it drives a lot of my general happiness relates specifically to what albums are coming out or what movies are coming out or whatever, or what trailers I've just seen, and I get very hyped. Sometimes the hype is just not worth the wait at all, and I find that most of the time the real happiness is being excited for something, or the real happiness is the idea of something rather than
yeah. It's the idea of something that you nostalgia wise you look forward to because of other things, but then that's the whole point of the advertisement campaign behind those things, is to get you hyped for the thing. I mean, regardless, most things I think we're both interested in, we'd be hyped for whether or not they were advertised well or not, I guess. Yeah,
I think Star Wars is probably the only thing where the hype lives up to the hype, or the product lives up to the hype, because I don't know, I'll start out by asking, what is a thing that you were super hyped for and let down by?
I mean, most recently, Batman vs Superman.
Right.
Because I was so looking forward to it for ages. Where they released the first trailer, and he was in the suit, and he was like, "Do you bleed?" or whatever he said, and Superman looked at him no, I don't. It's just no, little man,
leave me alone.
Yeah.
God damn it, Bruce! I'm with my friends.
Yeah, come on, man. And then they just started talking about their mothers and stuff, didn't they? But that whole I defend it weirdly in but it's got so many cool things, and there's this bit and that bit, but it really wasn't very good, was it? Really?
One of the main things in history, in the history of my lifetime, one of the main things that failed to live up to the hype was Oasis's third album, Be Here Now, and I will defend that more so, probably more aggressively than you defend Batman vs Superman, because it is everything that Batman vs Superman is, in the sense that it's bloated, It feels almost unnecessarily large.
And wrong.
Yeah. Yeah, like it might as well have just.
But it has all the things that make what you love good. Like, it has Noel, it has Liam, it has guitars, it has all the things there. Like, the ingredients are there to make something amazing, but then it's just, why?
What did you think of Man of Steel?
I love Man of Steel. Like, people don't like it, but I thought it was a really good reintroduction into Superman. Like, people did think it was like, the final part was like, oh, another one of those, like, he destroys the planet, like Transformers kind of nonsense.
I just didn't.
But most of the movie I really loved. Like, I thought it was a good, I mean, I love the character of Superman, the fact that he's an alien, like the moral side of it and everything. Like, a lot of people don't like Superman because he's this, like, he's the one superhero with all the powers. Just he's the first superhero, and yet he's the one that they just said, like, he's just gonna have all the powers.
Yeah, he's peak superhero, and he's superhero.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't like that, to be honest. But I will say, we should probably save this part for a little bit later on, because what I have to talk about being disappointed by the hype of is just not related to superheroes at all.
Right.
Although I guess Kanye West is the Superman of rap music.
He's the superhero we deserve.
Yeah, absolutely. I was recently let down by Drake's Views album because I really psyched myself up for it, and he made this mixtape called If You're Reading This It's Too Late, which was really good, and it had lots of like neat little samples and little. There's a song on there called Jungle, which is not like anything Drake had done previously, and it was very I just soothing in a really nice way. It's just a really nice song to listen to.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of like little elements of like sort of I don't really know, sort of like Jamaican accents and stuff, and Drake has this huge obsession with sort of Caribbean voices and stuff. And so I thought that Views, which was originally titled Views from the Six, which was supposed to be about things he learned growing up in Canada. So I was expecting a really like diverse album about where he gets all his influences from and like what it was like for him growing up. And instead I just got another Drake album, which is a sort of a bloated album that's too long, has some great songs on it, and then just lots of filler and him saying things that's on his mind. And I thought, If You're Reading This was too late, or sorry, If You're Reading This It's Too Late was an album about him talking about things that are on his mind. And he's so famous that it's interesting to hear it regardless of what it is. I just think Views was an extension of that we didn't need. I think the album that we should have gotten was a much more diverse album. And he was making all these tracks where like it was just him rapping and that was it. There was no hook or anything. Like, these songs had no chorus. The hook was just all the verses because he was that good. He was on that level of form. And there was nothing like that on Views. There's nothing... Like, he released a track in the build-up to Views called Summer 16, which is just a straightforward rap song with no chorus or anything. And there's, like, a beat change in the middle of it, and it's just great. And Views had nothing like that, and that was disappointing to me. And then also Kanye's The Life of Pablo, which I thought was fine as an album, but it was quite clearly something that was just thrown together because he had the songs available, and like the fucking track listing changed over time and the whole concept of the album itself changed with it, and it was fine for what it is, but I just got way too hyped. I drowned in the hype for both of those albums and was left with like a fucking...
I haven't actually listened to Life of Pablo, but is it just like a Bruce Springsteen album that Bruce like puts together recently where he just like gets tracks from like old album?
Yeah, it was, yeah. I mean, it wasn't as blatant as that, but there were songs on there that he said weren't going to be on and turned out to be on it. Like, to Drake's credit, he released Views, and I think the main reason that it suffered was because the tracks he had planned for it had leaked.
Right.
And Drake was like, well, they're already out there, so I got to put new stuff on it. And I think the new stuff wasn't up to that standard, and I think that's why it suffered. Whereas with Kanye, like, I mean, he did this track that was over the beat of Jumpman by Drake and Future, and it was about him and how he's bigger than Nike and all that stuff. And it's not something you'd put on an album. Like, it's like it's more like a Summer 16 song that Drake had, where you just drop it in the build up to something.
Yeah.
But it made its way to the album, and it shouldn't have. And it's just one of those situations where I think the two of them just lost sight of what the albums were supposed to be, and got totally hung up on the idea of like making it perfect, that it ruined it for them. I think that's what happened.
I think similarly with Blonde by Frank Ocean. We spoke a little bit about that, but like so much hype since Channel Orange was released, I think in like 2012, so it's been 4 years. And everyone was like waiting for the second album. And there's the whole thing, like the stereotype about the second album was always the hardest one to like produce or make. And like I love Channel Orange. Like I think it's a great album. Like I know you don't particularly like it that much, but yeah, Blonde is just. I mean, I've had one full listen so far. But like with most good albums, like I think it takes a few listens, like all the way through 3 or 4 times, to like to really get it and understand it, and like
I've heard it's a grower. So like I mean I've heard people whose opinions I appreciate say it was a grower. So like apparently it's got like no standout tunes, but it does have songs that'll get you when you're at the right frame of mind. Sort of like Bon Iver's album For Emma Forever Ago.
Right.
Which is just, like, it took me a couple of listens to get into that, but once I did, it turned out to be, like, a very important album for me. But it didn't get me right away. But yeah, I listened to Channel Orange, and to be honest, thought it was garbage. So, fuck you, anyone who likes it. Nah, just kidding.
Channel garbage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. But I think, like, albums especially it's because it takes time, and it can, like, some artists don't even release an album that you're looking forward to. Do you know what I mean? Like, is it Dre? Like, hasn't released the album like everyone wants him to release or whatever.
Detox, yeah.
Yeah, so
he's finally just come out and said, "All right, you fucking idiots, it's not even gonna happen."
Yeah.
Just stop, you morons.
Yeah. So yeah, like that sort of thing, because like artists can take a year to do an album, or they can take 6 years, or however long it might take, so it's always that hype of like, I can't wait for it to be released. It's not like a movie where once the trailer's out, you can guarantee within the year you're gonna see that movie. Do you know what I mean? Whereas like,
yeah. Which kind of, because I was gonna ask, when you said that you were excited for Batman vs Superman, I was gonna say, really snobbily, did you see the trailer? How are you excited for that shit? But that was just me being a cunt. So
no, I like the story is based on the Dark Knight Returns. Is a good graphic novel. It's pretty gritty. It's pretty dark. It's set sort of like during the Watchmen, like the Ronald Reagan era of the United States, where like it's Soviet Union and all that stuff, and it's just a really good graphic novel. And if they based it like on that, I thought like, okay, this could be good. Like much like the Dark Christopher Nolan movies are kind of taken from different Batman graphic novels in pieces. They're not like based solely on one.
The Killing Joke.
Yeah, and then you've got Batman Year One is kind of Batman Begins, kind of.
Was Batman Year One the one where Batman fought Al Qaeda? Or what was the first Frank Miller one that he did? It was Batman versus Al Qaeda or something.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and there was like a piece in it where Batman goes and finds Osama bin Laden and stuff like that. And, because I remember reading about it, and I was like, all right, that's it. Like, I just can't get into comic books.
Yeah.
It's just too much for me. I don't know what it is. But yeah, I admire the grittiness, but I think where Zack Snyder went wrong was that he wanted 2 Batmans instead of Batman and Superman, and I just don't think we need more anti-heroes. Like,
yeah,
I don't know.
It's true. I think the problem is, like, for me, like, it's just because of, we can divulge into like movies and stuff, I guess, but like the Marvel movies are too poppy and like wink at the camera and funny joke, smile, like the thumbs up in the air. Kind of not so much the Captain America ones. I find they're like a little bit better at that, but like most of the Marvel movies are that. Whereas like DC thought, right, we'll go the opposite way. And we're like, no, just don't go the whole opposite way. 'Cause
Yeah.
it's just ridiculous. That some of the Marvel movies are good, they're just a little bit too, smiley winky at the camera.
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
So just tone that down a little bit. Don't go all the way the other way.
Yeah, it's sort of like an almost a disappointing time to be looking forward to movies that are coming out, but also be sick of superheroes. Like, because what's coming out that we decided we were excited about? There's Rogue One, the Star Wars movie.
Yeah.
Like, I'm really, really hyped for that. I have no doubt it's going to be great. I know they did some reshoots, which is supposed to be a bad sign, but I mean, they did reshots of The Force Awakens. They did reshots of Jurassic World. Those movies weren't hampered by that. I don't think this will be either. I think it's going to be a good movie. And obviously I'm annoyed that there's a female protagonist, because that means the feminists have won. And we shouldn't be letting them win.
No.
But...
It's called Humankind.
I'm so looking forward to the day that there's like a Princess Leia origin story movie, and the nerds are still like, "Wow, this is bullshit! Another female protagonist." But yeah, I think Rogue One looks fucking awesome. I think it looks like something that I just think there's going to be something about it that we didn't know about Star Wars, because I saw that samurai-looking guy waving. Yeah,
and I did get excited about that, like the whole, is he a Jedi?
Yeah.
Isn't he a Jedi? Like, because there's no real, this is set obviously before A New Hope, presumably Obi-Wan Kenobi is still old.
Yeah.
At this point, nobody does, uses the Force anymore, or it doesn't really exist.
Yeah, because Han Solo in A New Hope says he doesn't believe in the Force.
No, so it exists. People know of it, but it doesn't exist. If that makes sense, it doesn't really exist anymore. No one practices it. It's just
it's like Buddhism.
He's grown up thinking it's some sort of nonsense bullshit that from the past or something like that.
Like me with physiotherapy.
Exactly. That's exactly what I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Rogue One just looks fucking good, doesn't it?
Yeah. Well, the little bits of it, I think that's the first main trailer they've done recently, isn't it?
Yeah.
The one with Darth Vader at the end, the helmet, that shot of him, from the behind. But that's hype. That's just great advertisement. That's we're gonna give you the money shot, and it's the back of Darth Vader's head, and every nerd screams, but that gets you hyped for the movie, clearly. And
I was really surprised to learn that Nicolas Cage is playing Darth Vader.
I was too, but if you really think about it, it's a great choice.
Well, also, who else could it be?
Yeah, exactly.
In 2016.
Yeah.
It's the choice that makes the most amount of sense.
What is surprising is they've let him do the voice too.
Yeah.
Which is a bold move.
Yeah, but you gotta do what you gotta do. His voice is money. This is all proven facts.
His voice is just pure dollars, isn't it?
Speaking of hype and stuff like that, I was actually I watched all the trailers for The Force Awakens. I think wasn't there 3 main trailers that came out for it?
Yeah, I think so. I think most movies have three.
There was one that was, I think it was the last one. It was the one that was released during the Super Bowl, but it was just the most well cut piece of advertisement I've ever seen in my life. Where they had the it was that sort of chiming.
Yeah, which is the one where he says, "Chewie, we're home." That's the first one.
That's the first one, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't remember the second one very well, but the third one was the one where it started out. You could hear Maz's voice saying, "Who are you, really?" or something like that.
Yeah.
And she said, "The Force is calling you. Let it in," or something like that. Mm. But that advert fucking got me. It's so well made. It's so well pieced together that someone found all of that and made that advert from it. I thought that was great. But the problem with watching all those adverts was that when I actually watched the movie itself, I knew what was coming next in almost every scene.
I think that's also an issue with hype and everything, because they want to hype it up so much.
Yeah.
They release so much in advance to get you to go. It's almost like, are you almost picturing that thing? Well, that hasn't happened from the trailer, so
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what it was.
yeah. It's like we can't have the end yet because that bit in the trailer hasn't happened yet. So
yeah, completely. Yeah,
Yeah.
You start looking for the things in the trailer, which is why, like, it's really good. The way in some movies they actually just make shit up for the trailer.
they do edit. They shoot like extra scenes.
Yeah.
Deliberately to cut them out of the movie and then put them in the trailer. Yeah.
So I wish that was more of a done thing, and a thing that we were aware of, so that we wouldn't expectantly look for, like, you know, like, because, like, I knew fucking 100% that when the Millennium Falcon got apprehended, that it was obviously Han Solo and Chewie and stuff like that. Like, I don't know. I feel almost like I was robbed of my experience of watching that a little bit. Although, like,
I did go and see it 3 times.
Yeah, no, same. Yeah,
But,
same.
I mean, it is one of the more movies that the hype lived up to. Like, it blew me away. Like, it just gave, it's that feeling of being in the cinema and just being excited and stuff. Like, most of the time now, it's kind of like you go and you're like, okay, I'm kind of been burnt a lot, so I'm just gonna be sort of like, I'm just gonna sit here and want to like this, and then you're like, oh, that's a bit shit, isn't it?
Yeah, but I'll also say, right, I saw The Phantom Menace in the cinema 9 times.
I think not 9 times, but I think I saw it like 3 or 4 times. Yeah,
it's not a movie that burned me. It didn't hurt. Like, I bought all the fucking toys. Like,
same, yeah.
It didn't hurt my enjoyment of the franchise, but Attack of the Clowns did.
Hey.
Yeah. And so did Revenge of the Sith, or whatever.
Like, I did watch them recently. Attack of the Phantom Menace is not. It's the CGI is terrible. It does not hold up at all.
And it's just a movie about trade blockades and federations and.
But the droids are just awful.
Yeah.
They're just terrible. But like the lightsaber battle at the end, like I'll give it, like it's probably the best one.
Oh, it is. Yeah, it is. That's actually great. Yeah, I think that's one of the most epic sort of moments in the Star Wars franchise, even.
Yeah, but it does suffer a lot from like bad acting. I think those movies.
Yeah, and you know what? The first 3, the 3 prequels that they made are really, really riddled with this childish humor, like puns and stuff like that. Which I don't like. I really don't like in Attack of the Clones when Anakin jumps out of the speeder looking for that bounty hunter, and Obi-Wan just goes, it's all silent after he jumps, and Obi-Wan is like, I hate it when he does that. Like, fuck off with that.
Yeah.
And similarly, I think the comedy in The Force Awakens was really on point, and it was really funny. It was the funniest Star Wars by a long way. But I don't think that's going to age well. Like, I think fucking the BB-8 giving the thumbs up, like, I mean, that's just ridiculous.
Yeah, I think it is, like, there was subtle humor as well, like, when, like, Kylo Ren, like, receives the bad news and it trashes
that was
room,
great.
trashes the room with the lightsaber, and those 2 guys, like, come around the corner.
Yeah.
And they're like, he's clearly done this before, and they're like, okay, we're not going to go anywhere near
Yeah,
him.
that was brilliant.
Yeah.
That's an important piece of character building too, because like
exactly,
you know exactly what kind of guy he is. You know
Yeah.
that he's childish and he has a tendency to lash out and like stuff like that. I thought that was actually really good.
His character is far better done than the Hayden Christensen character, like Anakin in the 3rd one.
Yeah,
you just want to like I never really disliked Kylo Ren in like he's just a prick, like, but Anakin I just didn't like him. Even
too much
watching,
angst.
yeah, he just stop being so emo. Just like,
yeah, I really liked the scene where he kills all the younglings.
because you like the death of children. That's
well, yes.
Yeah.
That's all I was gonna say.
yeah. Because I like when children die.
Yeah, because like that's extended suffering. Like you got the parents, you know,
yeah,
the whole what could have been with their life thing.
Yeah.
You know, that's a tragedy probably. But no, I thought that was cool because when the camera focused on his face and you saw his eyes going red, It was just a very significant turning point for the character, and I think while his angst was handled terribly in the second one, I thought in Revenge of the Sith, I liked that Anakin. I did like him. He was vicious and ruthless, and
But I just think, like, looking throughout the whole of the movies, I don't think he's, like, capable of anything like that. Like, Darth Vader as a character isn't capable, I don't think, of, like, anything like that malicious and cruel. Because if you, like, unless he is, and he's just, like, by the time Return of the Jedi comes around, he's just kind of like, you know what? I'm just kind of a good guy now. Like,
yeah, isn't that a thing though? Because I started listening to the Empire podcast, which I would recommend everyone go and listen to. It's fantastic.
Okay.
And they did an episode on movie villains, and Helen O'Hara said, like, it's sort of a well-known thing, but every villain eventually becomes a hero if you let them live long enough. And that's so true, because Darth Vader had developed such a following that they just couldn't have him be the evil guy, and his character arc was for him to come back to the good side, which shouldn't actually happen, right? Because he's supposed to bring balance to the Force, not destroy it. No. But like when Luke brings him back or whatever, he dies, like, that's not balance to the Force, that's only the light, and I don't think that's the Jedi's final endgame, really, is it?
No.
They're supposed to be all about having a balance, which they were doing, before Episode 1. They should make a fucking movie about pre-Episode 1 Star Wars. Because it's very clear in Episode 1 that the Jedi are not warriors at all. Like, they're not accustomed to fighting. They're peacekeepers, and they're representatives, and like, for the most part, they're diplomats. So, like, I would like to see a movie that shows them bringing that balance about, maybe. But I guess you can't really do that at all logistically, because you can't have a villain that settles into a villain role by the end of the movie, because that's just not satisfying for the audience.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Overall, I would say Star Wars is good.
Yes, I think we've summed up Star Wars good.
Star Trek.
Star Trek. I don't know. I actually watched the new Star Trek and I thought it was quite good. Well, I didn't think it was quite. I was disappointed by Star Trek Into Darkness.
I don't like that. I don't know a whole lot about Star Trek because, let's face it, guys, I'm not a nerd. Please.
Fucking nerds.
But when I watched Star Trek growing up, I would catch the odd episode here and there, and I mean like the Shatner one, and
yeah.
It was, every episode was like a philosophical thought experiment thing. What if this, all these races, like, the end game is ultimately that we all should be peaceful beings and
live happily ever after.
Yeah.
Together, I think.
Yeah. And that's great. And I'm all for that. And there's a lesson to be had. And it's so cool that they go to different planets. Like, there's a Nazi planet, a gangster planet, all that stuff. And then the movies are like, whoa, you guys want to see some space explosions? And people falling off cliffs? Like, just... There's nothing in the movies that are like, well, here's something for you to think about.
Yeah, I think the first movie, I think because it's a J.J. Abrams movie, felt more Star Wars to me. Like, it very, like, he shot it in a way that, like, I don't know, it felt very Star Wars to me. And the second one is basically Wrath of Khan. Or The Search for Spock, like I can't remember which one it is now, that they basically just took the whole thing and combined them into one movie. And this, I mean, it doesn't, you're right, it doesn't have the elements of bringing people together, and, like, in fact, the first one, like, these guys have lost their home planet, and they're kind of pissed off, and they want to blow up a Vulcan, yet no one's really concerned that much about the explosion of Vulcan from the beginning. They're just a bit sort of like, there's no real, like, panic on the faces of anybody. I mean, Spock is pretty pissed off, but he's Vulcan, so he doesn't actually feel emotion. So that's hard. Yeah, I don't know. I do like those movies, but they're not. I mean, I don't get excited for them. I mean, you release a Star Trek trailer, for me, it's not exciting. I wouldn't. The hype in that situation, I'm like, I'll go see it because, like, most pop culture movies, like, I'll go see anyway.
Yeah. which actually is probably a good time. I know, like, we have other stuff to talk about that are upcoming that we're excited about, but I think this might be the time to talk about Suicide Squad because it's current and it had hype and we all went to see it, and it was absolute garbage. Pretty much. I couldn't believe how. Like,
but before you start, is there any redeeming factors for you whatsoever? Like anybody that you thought, they did quite a good job?
I thought Will Smith was really good.
I think it's a return to form for Will Smith in terms of like being likable.
Yeah.
I don't think he's been particularly like his last couple of movies. The one he did with Jaden, where they were lost in like on a world.
After Earth, yeah.
Yeah, it's not good.
It was a poor M. Night Shyamalan movie.
But he's kind of like back to the sort of like the scallywag Will Smith sort of Independence Day Will Smith, if you like, that kind of like.
I think that was a deliberate choice from him too. Like I think he knew what he was doing there because Will Smith has always been very what's the word? Will Smith looks out for Will Smith. And he knew what he was doing by taking that role. But it was quite clear in all of the scenes where it was him and that Swedish guy who played Rick Flag, whose name is Joel Kinnaman.
Yeah.
Is that his name? Because Will Smith absolutely acted rings around him in all of those scenes, and it made Joel Kinnaman seem incredibly unlikable just because he just has no charisma about him whatsoever, and that RoboCop movie he was in was terrible, and he's not really that good, to be honest. But Will Smith was very, very good. I thought Harley Quinn was decent. I know it's her whole thing is that she belongs to the Joker. Should we do spoilers for this? Surely people have seen this. Surely anyone who's not going to see it by now.
I would say if you haven't seen the Suicide Squad, don't listen to the next 3 minutes of the podcast.
I would go one better. I would double down on that and say if you haven't seen Suicide Squad, don't. It's shit.
Yeah, or just don't. Yeah.
I think. Look, we're going to talk about it in spoilers. Yeah, skip forward 5 minutes if you don't want to have it ruined for you. But to be honest, it's not a good movie. It shouldn't really matter.
I think if you like the characters, particularly Deadshot and Harley Quinn, you might enjoy it. But if you like good movies, actually, let me just edit. You won't like it. But I thought the Batman scenes were quite good, and there were one or two of them.
I thought they were strange.
I just like the fact that they used him in a kind of a. He wasn't in no one made mention of a couple of scenes he was going to be in.
Yeah, I thought that was cool too. I thought the scene where he appeared in the Deadshot scene.
Yeah, in the alleyway.
That was bad. It was so weird, and it was like Ben Affleck wasn't available that day, so they just got a puppet. It was really weird. There was something just really off about that scene that I didn't like at all. Because if Ben Affleck and Will Smith are on screen together, I want to know that they're on screen together. Do you know?
Yeah, true. Yeah.
There was a lot of stuff about the movie that was so clearly just fucking pieced together and clipped to make a deadline or whatever. Because one thing I noticed was that they all got their own little intros. But even that was botched because it starts off with Deadshot. And that was his intro. And then it cuts to Detective Hopper from Stranger Things talking to the evil lady.
Yeah.
And then they all get their intro again. Just the pacing of it was just completely ridiculous. And their intros were really cool. I liked that they all got their own little soundtrack and stuff. It sort of did give it a lot of character.
I did think that some you could clearly tell towards the end as the intros got less and less interesting. You're they clearly don't like that character.
The fact that Slipknot didn't even get an intro.
And
then you're like, oh, by the way, guys, Slipknot is in this.
Yeah, and he's dead.
Yeah.
He's just, Basically, it was the next scene. He's in this. Mission started. He's dead. Okay. Cool.
Yeah. Oh man, it was just a fucking absolute calamity of a movie. I thought the fucking Enchantress shit, that was so bad.
It was bad. In terms of bad guys, it was it was horrendous.
Oh my god, is there nobody better for them to fight? And even if not, can you not do a better presentation than a bunch of fucking blackcurrants that are walking?
Well, we said this discussion beforehand, but it's just so annoying that they pander to the PG-13 rating or whatever it is in America. I don't know what the equivalent is in America. I think it's something else, but
Now PG-13 is the American term. They just call it PG over here, I think.
is it?
Yeah.
Okay, but like to get that rating that you can't show blood or the death of human beings or like graphic death of human beings. So to have like battles and stuff like that, like Deadshot is going to kill people. So that in a movie where Deadshot will shoot lots of people, like he shot one guy in like the flashback scenarios showing, like didn't he put the bullet in his head, didn't he, in the very beginning?
Yes, yeah.
But beyond that, like anything, like if they're gonna shoot like lots of people, all of these movies do these mindless sort of like blackcurrant people where they're just like they're essentially they're putty men from Power Rangers.
Yeah, completely.
It's horrible.
I watched it with my girlfriend in the cinema, and the part where they finally get the fiery guy, who probably has a name better than that.
Oh no, wasn't he just Enchantress's brother?
No, the guy who shoots fire, the Mexican guy who shoots fire out of
Diablo.
Diablo, yeah, that's the name. The scene where, like, I think it was Will Smith finally brought the anger out of him and he just burned all the people. And my girlfriend just turned to me and said, "Why didn't they just bring him?" Like, they literally don't need any other person.
Yeah. They
just
literally
need that
didn't.
guy.
Yeah, they didn't at all.
And like that's so true as well.
Yeah.
Like anyone could have swung the baseball bat at Cara Delevingne. Like it's just, I don't know. And even like the Killer Croc guy, like did nothing apart from swim. Like it was just such a garbage movie. Like I'm so fucking bemused as to how they made such a terrible movie, and it just goes to show what a fucking joke the whole process of making a movie actually is in Hollywood, when they have to do things to appeal to everybody, and while at the same time meeting all these ridiculous deadlines. I don't know who gives these deadlines, or whatever, but they ruin films. Like they fucking ruin them. Like I don't think that Suicide Squad had to be bad. I think it could have been a really good movie, but I don't know. What did you think of Jared Leto as the Joker?
I think he's a cunt in real life.
He's an absolute wank.
But like I think he just overacted for me a little bit.
Yeah,
like, it wasn't horrible. But I just it's weird. I think because you automatically he wasn't in it enough to really pass judgment that much, to be honest. Sure. But like for me, he overacted a little bit.
Yeah, it's really. I find the thing between him and Harley Quinn is very odd, because I'm not one of those people that is like, oh, it's so stupid that she just belonged to him, like, because I know that that's her point as a character.
Well, she kind of like got Stockholm syndrome.
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
and
she fell in love with her. You know,
that's cool because it shows his power. Like because.
He's charming.
Yeah.
You know,
how does the Joker recruit all these people? Like, that's never really truly been explored before. And I think it's even something that The Dark Knight could have done with. But it's just, I don't know, like, he takes a piece of her brain out. Or, no, sorry, he does the electrocution thing.
Yeah.
And then when she, at the end of the movie, when Enchantress shows everyone their dream life, hers is that she's normal again, and that the Joker is a domesticated, normal guy.
Yeah.
And that makes fucking no sense if she was a normal person that was turned into, like, an insane person who wants to be insane with the Joker. Like, just that flashback was so out of place. And
it should be them skipping through a field, like, firing guns in there.
Yeah. Them walking through, like, a post-apocalyptic wasteland that they are the rulers of. Or, you know, like them in a fucking theme park that is evil and acidic in its nature.
Yeah.
Like, that was so fucking stupid. Like, just really fucking bad. Like, I don't know. It was just a bad movie. I guess you can't really say anything more than that. I don't think anyone will come out and defend that movie and say that it was anything other than terrible. Which I say knowing full well that a lot of the nerds have and are doing that on social media. But
yeah, I think, I mean, there's moments of it that I thought, that's a cool DC comic moment, like, between characters that you've never seen on the screen before, like Deadshot and Harley Quinn and stuff, but it was just bad. Like, it wasn't like it wasn't enjoyable really at all. I mean, not really like it was just stuff you'd seen before. Like the soundtrack was kind of like they're trying too hard to incorporate
Yes, completely.
um
A soundtrack that has Creedence Clearwater Revival and Kanye West on it is trying too hard.
yeah.
Completely. Like, it's, yeah, opposite ends of the spectrum and stuff like that. Do you think there's anything DC can do to save themselves from here? Like, because they're fucking it up so badly. Because I asked earlier what you thought of Man of Steel, and I watched it on the plane when I was going to Singapore. And I thought it was fine. It was quite good for the first half, or maybe the first third of the movie.
I think that until Kevin Costner died,
Yeah.
I thought it was quite good. No, actually, once they started like doing the whole blowing up the city,
Yeah,
and
that I
nonsense.
hate that shit.
Yeah.
It's just a destruction orgy, and like it's so CGI intensive that it just takes away from it completely.
From any storytelling. But yeah, the very first hour, the backdrop of him growing up as Clark Kent on the farm and all that stuff. I love all that stuff anyway because like I love that character of like being alienated. He is an alien growing up human and he's having to interact and like
That's what no, yeah, I know, yeah. It
and
is
feeling like he doesnesn't belong and all that stuff. Like you could, as a person, even though he's an alien with like all these superhuman powers, you can relate to that feeling of not belonging and all that stuff. But then, obviously, yeah, the last again with superhero movies, the last hour is just nonsensical. Buildings collapsing.
complete fucking nonsense.
Yeah.
The fucking all of that, like, I don't know, because I think Mad Max Fury Road is just the best movie ever made. And there's just no, like, bullshit like that in it. Like the destruction was gratuitous and just so over the top that it just didn't even mean anything anymore.
I just wonder whether, like, since 9/11, like the like this is gonna sound outrageous, like the level of destruction that happened in real life and everyone witnessed, like, meant that movies had to like up their ante to match that, and everything from now on has to be like buildings collapsing and just mass death of people. I don't know, but like you go back to like 1996 and think about blockbusters, and like the movies were like Con Air, and
like Independence Day destroyed.
Well, yeah, but they're disaster movies.
Yeah, and
you
also
could argue that like that's their aim. Like, but every blockbuster now is a disaster movie.
Yeah, that's true. Every movie now is a sci-fi and a disaster at the same time.
Yeah.
It's all about the end of the world all of the time.
Yeah.
And like in Independence Day, the whole point of them destroying specific buildings was to show the scale of the chaos. Like they were like, all right, look, we're blowing up the
White House.
Yeah, we're blowing up these buildings in Washington, these buildings in Paris or whatever. Actually, no, it was all across America in Independence Day. But in Batman vs Superman, Man of Steel, they just destroy every fucking building.
Mm.
And the whole movie is just this grey scale across the screen.
Yeah.
And also, I fucking despise this thing that superhero movies do, where the villain is just the hero, except bad. Like, Superman is a guy who can fly around and do all that cool shit. It's not compelling to me that the villain is a guy who can fly around and do all that cool shit. Like, I don't like that the villain is just another Superman. And they did it with Iron Man. Like, they do it with all the fucking movies now. That's pretty much what they are, is that the other guys get the same amount of power. I don't know, is it an allegory for nuclear warfare or whatever? But it's garbage and they need to stop doing it.
I think they do. That's why it's interesting for me for the whole Batman. Like, if you look at the main villains of some comic, like Superman and DC especially, like Superman's main villain is Lex Luthor, and it's never really explained in these new movies, like especially the Batman vs Superman. But like he's just a rich guy, like he's just Donald Trump.
Yeah, or in this movie, he's just a rich guy who's on lots of cocaine.
Yeah, he's on lots of cocaine. Yeah, he's like Mark Zuckerberg, but he like had lots of cocaine. But yeah, the Joker is nothing special. Like he's Batman's like arch nemesis, but he's not good at fighting.
Yeah.
He's not particularly good at anything. He just likes chaos, and that's the one thing. Like in this, like the Batman loves order and like all that sort of stuff. Like he's not really particularly follows the law, but like he has a code of ethics and all this stuff, whereas the Joker doesn't live by that. But yeah, you're right. Like most of the stuff now, like is it Thor like has Loki who has the same powers?
Yeah. Although,
Uh,
like, in fairness to Loki, they've made Loki into a charming rogue type character, almost like a Disney version of Heath Ledger's Joker.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. Yeah, he
Yeah.
is a lot like that. Yeah,
Which is fine and it works well. I don't like Iron Man. The first Iron Man movie is like 2.5 hours of Tony Stark trying to figure out how his fucking suit works, and then every other Iron Man movie after that is like all the bad guys getting the suit and figuring out how it works straight away.
yeah,
It's just it's not compelling after that point. And like I also cringe a little bit at the fact that we're adults and we're dissecting the movies in that way, because we shouldn't be, but they present themselves like that. You know, like they really fucking feed off that seriousness and those dark elements and stuff. I think Marvel do a great job of treading the line between humorous and dark and like scary, but also safe. Whereas
yeah, because ultimately they know it's for children.
yeah, completely, and they can always fall back on that no matter
Yeah,
what. Whereas like DC is just Zack Snyder being like, but what if everyone was Batman?
yeah,
All of the people. What if they were all Batman?
yeah.
It's just
Like basically, he's watched the Dark Knight movies and go, I like his voice.
Yeah.
let's put that in everything. His voice is so angry. Let's put it in everything.
yeah, it's just too much. Zack Snyder is terrible. Like I
Yeah.
just
No, I hate he Sucker Punch ruined Zack Snyder for me. I think.
yeah, because Dawn of the Dead is decent.
Yeah.
I thought Watchmen was good.
Yeah, I in general, I like it. It has, it's probably like it's bloated up itself a little bit,
Yeah,
but like
it is.
but there are some very cool elements to that movie.
It's my favorite movie where a giant blue guy walks around.
Yeah,
I think.
yeah, no, I think it's my favorite movie with a Rorschach in it,
Yeah.
which is undeniable. I think actually.
Although I wonder, like, because I know what the Rorschach test is, and I only know what it is through popular culture, so I'm wondering what other movies that I like have a Rorschach test in it. It's in The Simpsons, right? Homer takes one.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I think it must be in other things than The Simpsons.
Well, like
it
The
would be
Simpsons-
amazing if the only two things it was in were The Watchmen and The Simpsons.
Yeah, but that's a tough call, because I'm going with The Simpsons. But yeah,
Yeah.
like, if it's in The Simpsons, it's obviously in lots of other things.
Yeah, The Simpsons only reference.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah, I find that interesting, like the nature of parody, how we all know what... Because remember we did an episode about movie tropes,
yeah,
and we could name fucking tropes for, like, months and months.
tropes for days.
Tropes for days. But we can't name the source material,
No,
and that's weird. Like,
Yeah,
why
yeah,
is
yeah.
that? How does that happen?
I don't know.
I don't
Yeah.
Should we move on from bashing the DC universe with a hopeful brush and move into things that we're excited about that are coming up?
Yes, we should. Because I mean, let's stop being negative. Let's get excited. Let's believe the hype.
Yeah. So one of the things that's going to be terrible is I'm quite excited for that Tupac movie. I think it looks fucking sick.
Yeah.
I like that they're doing movies like that because I thought Straight Outta Compton was pretty good, and like I wasn't expecting to see Tupac in there, but I also wasn't expecting to see Dr. Dre's kid. Whoa.
Heyo.
But yeah, it looks good. Like
Yeah.
I think it's gonna be a good movie. Tupac is like a guy that I wish was not dead because he was pretty good at what he did.
Yeah.
You know, like Harry Kuehl, except better.
He's often been compared to the Harry Cool of rap. hasn't
Yeah,
he?
yeah.
I think that was definitely a thing of the time.
Yeah. But
Uh,
I don't know. It's crazy, right? Kendrick Lamar released his what many people consider to be his best album, Good Kid, Mad City, when he was 25, and when Tupac was 25, he was shot dead. Like, isn't that just fucked up? Like, Tupac left, like, such a fucking legacy at the age of 25 years old.
So I always think he looks older than that.
That's because you're a racist, though.
No, but black people look younger.
Yeah,
to
no,
me.
that's true, actually.
But
Because
yeah,
Denzel Washington is 75 years old.
He's 70. Yeah, I think Samuel L. Jackson is 91.
That's crazy. I mean...
Yeah. Forrest Whitaker has a weird eye. That's got nothing to do with it. But it's just something I thought I'd point out.
It's not wrong.
It's not wrong. And it's not racist either, because
He does have a weird eye, yeah.
had he been white, I would have also pointed it out.
Yeah.
Chinese, doesn't really matter. But yeah, I think, because we touched upon this a little bit earlier, talking about what we're going to talk about, and saying, like, what if Tupac had been around today, what would he be doing? Like, would he still be making...
Yeah, how relevant would he be? Because he only had 4 proper studio albums. All of them were very highly acclaimed. But as we well know, Tupac has released an album every month since his death.
Yeah, every month, I think, yeah.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that stands to his legacy. Like, it's a testament to his ability as a recording artist. But there's a really dense story with Tupac that I wonder... I reckon the movie will probably skirt around and not get into. But a lot of people are under the impression that he was this... really like enigmatic guy who was fairly sure that he was going to die, so he recorded loads of stuff in advance. But the truth is, he was, by the time he was shot, he got shot before, like, he got shot several times in his life, not all of them fatal. So one of the times he got shot, and then he discharged himself from hospital and released an album shortly after. But after that time, he got really, really paranoid about who
being
he thought,
shot.
yeah, like, but who he thought was involved in it and stuff like that. And he started stockpiling content to release for when he was in prison, because he was fairly sure he was going to go back to prison.
Right.
And he like didn't trust anyone, and he started turning on everyone, and he started feuds with everyone, like people who he trusted up to that point. And I think that's a symptom of Death Row Records. They were like notoriously vengeful and aggressive and stuff like that, and Tupac was like one of the leaders of that. And it's just crazy to me that he recorded as much as he did, as many songs as he did. Like, 25, man, is just ridiculous. Like,
Yeah.
I just feel like if you didn't know that, you would have said he was like 31 or 32 or something. Like, he released 4 albums. Obviously, since then has released like 19 albums or whatever. I said Kendrick Lamar because I think he's probably the closest thing we've come to producing a Tupac. A guy who speaks about what it's actually like to be a black person who's like under the thumb and sort of feels oppressed or whatever.
I think popular music wise, Kendrick. I think there must be like underground.
Oh, for sure there are. Yeah.
But for it to be mainstream and to release an album and not give a shit about like speaking the truth and stuff. Yeah, no, I absolutely agree. Like, you know,
you don't get very close to Good Kid, Mad City just as an album overall, anyway. Especially one that deals with those types of themes. Like, there haven't been many at all in the last 10 years. Well, I mean, there have, but not ones of that scale of greatness, I don't think.
No. I think also, like, it just, everyone associates, like, rap music now with sort of, like, the Drake element of rap music, and not to say that's not as good as what Kendrick Lamar is doing, but, like, it's
on a different scale.
It's a different level and scale and stuff. Yeah.
I think what Drake is doing is really, really great and deserves like a lot of plaudits. But I separate it in my head to like even though he has those songs with no choruses that I mentioned earlier, where he just goes in and stuff like that, and I love those. But still, Kendrick is an actual rapper. Yeah. And I say this as a guy who genuinely thinks Drake is like so much better than you all think he is. Like, he's one of my favorite people alive, and I like him better than Kendrick, but Kendrick's better.
Yeah.
He's a better rapper. He's a much better like gangster rapper. He's way better at...
Well, he's just a better lyrically. Like, lyrics, like, when people talk about like Springsteen and they talk about like he's good at like he's just writing songs, that's what Kendrick Lamar is for rap music. Like, he's just good at writing those politically charged sort of like look into like the life of
Yeah, like The Blacker the Berry.
yeah.
That's like a really good song that fucking does exactly what you're talking about there.
But it also like paints a picture of like what it's like. Like you don't have to live that life at all, but it just paints an amazing picture of what he's talking about. And I think Springsteen does the same thing. Like I've never been to Jersey, but I'm pretty sure it's exactly like what Springsteen describes it as. You know what I mean? So yeah. Yeah.
But if Tupac were alive,
would he be relevant?
Yeah. 'Cause,
like
you made like some decent points earlier when we spoke.
I said probably not, because Ice Cube is in Ride Along 2.
Yeah.
Which is like basically essentially what I said, but it's also a really good point. Like,
yeah, but
Ice Cube is in Ride Along 2.
Because like Tupac was also an actor, which I don't think is insignificant.
Yeah,
because
but
it speaks to his level.
I just don't know whether like if you get to a certain age, like that angst of it isn't there anymore, is it?
Yeah,
Like,
right. Because Ice Cube was also in Boys in the Hood,
yeah.
which is like one of like the ultimate sort of like it's a serious movie and it's a good movie, and he was in it and he was good in it.
Yeah.
And like only after that did he become a comedic sort of punchline.
He was like in Anaconda and all those. Was he in Anaconda, or was one of those really ridiculous movies?
And there's also like Flavor Flav is from Public Enemy.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, and not only that, but he's also like a fucking multi-talented, like genius musician.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, he was in Public Enemy, and now he does that weird show that he hasn't done in years. But that's what he's known for.
Yeah.
No, every time I think of him,
crazy,
I always imagine the Boogeyman from WWE SmackDown, because he wears a clock around his neck, right? So every time I think of Flavor Flav, I think of the Boogeyman eating worms on the Titantron. What a world!
I think it's a great. I don't know whether like I don't think anyone is, because you hold like Tupac to this like level now because he's dead. Of like, nah, Tupac wouldn't be in Ride Along 2, but he probably would. Like, he wouldn't release as culturally relevant songs as he did then, and he would probably be in Ride Along 2,
because like
or something equivalent.
Kanye is one of the most well, maybe not influential, but like Kanye is widely renowned by people who know anything about music as a fucking incredible musician, because he is. But he was in the Anchorman too.
Yeah.
I like how I said the Anchorman.
The Anchorman. He's in the Anchormans.
Marvel's the Anchorman.
Marvel's the Anchorman.
Really dark take on news reporting.
Yeah.
Jake Gyllenhaal was fantastic in that role, I thought.
Yeah.
There's a little Nightcrawler joke. But yeah, like because Tupac made multiple appearances on talk shows and stuff and was very funny in ways that I don't think you would expect him to be if you listen to his music. So I don't know. Like the dude was he was shot. He went to jail. He thought he was going to go back to jail many times. I wonder about his mindset, if he could have sustained that level of output long enough to stay in the mainstream.
I don't know. He could have done something like what Eddie Murphy did, like just had a level of like fame so high for so many years, and then just not really care anymore. Do you know what I mean? Like, what was the last thing Eddie Murphy? Like, Eddie Murphy's like in his early 50s maybe, and he doesn't do stand up anymore.
Yeah.
He doesn't really do movies anymore. I've not seen him in an interview for anything. Like, I don't know what he does anymore. Like
Shrek was good.
It was like 2003, wasn't it? Like, it's like, do you know what I mean? It's like,
yeah,
I don't know.
but,
It's just when you hit a level of fame, you don't like. I don't know. It's a weird, like, I don't know.
2003 was like 2 years ago, man. So I don't know what your problem is.
Yeah, I think he could have done. I mean, Tupac could do like a Dre thing and like not.
Yeah.
Like, invent something, like, you know.
Yeah.
By the way, guys, Dre invented something.
Tupac's mini fridge.
Tupac's.
It's like a normal mini fridge, but it's like really cold.
But you can get 2 packs of something in there.
Oh.
Yeah.
I don't get that. I don't get that reference.
I don't know where I was going with that. But yeah, I don't know. He could have gone that route and not like been an entrepreneur or something. I don't know whether his mindset would have been the same. I don't know.
Yeah, I can't stress how paranoid he got towards the end. Like he was fucking mental. Like I don't know. There's such an interesting story to be told there, and to take it back to why we started talking about Tupac, I just hope they explore that in the movie.
Yeah.
But I am not confident after seeing Straight Outta Compton. And
Well, they'll tell
yeah.
the story.
But I thought Straight Outta Compton was sort of, it did a decent job of telling Jerry Heller's story, because like it also showed the good that he did, because even though he's like widely hated by the hip hop community, like he did have a huge hand in bringing NWA to the forefront of popular culture, and like that's important. So I don't know. I think it'll be a good movie. I think I'll enjoy it, but I don't think it will tell the story I want it to tell.
I think ultimately, though, like talking about hype, like you'll probably go in disappointed maybe afterwards. Like, yeah, I
You
don't
always
know.
do, though. Like, man, I cannot begin to express to you how hyped I was for CM Punk's first fight in UFC.
I know, right? Yeah, that was disappointing. Actually, no. I'm talking about like hype and the thing. We like wrestling and sport, that sort of thing. Like UFC recently has been like the Conor McGregor Nate Diaz fight was hyped up, and it kind of lived up to
It
expectations.
was fucking
It was
great.
fantastic.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
yeah, I really enjoyed that.
Anything with Brock Lesnar is usually quite good. Just
yeah, I
just
enjoy
because he
it.
likes to punch people.
Yeah, he's just a big cunt.
Yeah, he's just a big.
He loves to fuck people up.
Yeah, he's just a big cunt. Yeah.
I guess maybe to end it on a final thing that I'm excited for.
Go for it.
Do you have anything you're excited for?
Not really.
It's been a long time since you felt emotion.
Yeah, 1997 was a while ago.
Yeah. And $3 bill, y'all, just piqued my excitement for everything. Yeah, I'm gonna say the new Oasis documentary, Supersonic, just looks fantastic. I think there comes a time in every person's life where they have to just take a step back, let their guard down, and just let Oasis in. Like, just I've found that because I like all kinds of music, and usually only dickheads say that, but I mean, I don't know. People talk to me about all kinds of music all the time, and I always get into like deep discussions about what certain songs mean and stuff like that, and then they find out that I really like Oasis, and they proceed to tell me why I'm wrong, and it's like, look, I know, yes, those are the same chord progressions, or yes, that is taken from the Beatles, or whatever. Doesn't matter, like, that's the music that I grew up with, and I find it very interesting that the people that hate Oasis the most are always the ones that want to throw their arms around you and sing Don't Look Back in Anger when it comes on in the pub at 2 a.m. So,
Right.
I'm fucking excited for it. I just think that their story is great, and I think there's a sort of a, like, weird class issue with Oasis where, because they're listened to by mostly working class people, they get sort of just put into this slot of a band that I think their perceived badness gets way overplayed by people. Like, people always say Oasis are fucking terrible, but like, look, they were literally the biggest band in the world at one point in time, so like, you can say that, but there was a time when this was what everyone was into, and that includes the critics and stuff like that. And I don't know, I think there's a good story to be told. I think it's significant that like they were involved in like a brutal upbringing where Noel was like, you know, beaten by his dad like severely, to the point where he developed a stammer that he didn't lose until he was like 25 years old and stuff like that. Like I think there's reports that he did like an armed robbery of a record store at some point.
Jesus.
Guys that just came up and walked into a record deal, like they're fucking, like, they've had a real life up to that point, but they just never took anything seriously. And there's just like Definitely Maybe is like an era-defining album, and there's a track on it called Digsy's Dinner, and it's like the worst fucking song ever made. It's about going to someone's house for tea and eating lasagna. It's like, it's fucking terrible, but it's on an album that's widely perceived to be an incredibly important album of its time and stuff like that. And I just,
Yeah. Well,
I don't know.
we briefly said before, like talking about like the Beatles and like how like they they released some of the greatest albums of all time, like universally praised.
Yeah.
But some of the stuff on like the White Album
Yeah.
and some of the later up, it's just garbage.
But
It's
even
just-
like, right, because we were talking, you said Rubber Soul, I said Abbey Road.
yeah,
As the two, like I was saying best album of all time is probably Abbey Road to me.
Mm.
But there's a song on Abbey Road called Maxwell's Silver Hammer.
Yeah.
It's fucking garbage.
yeah, it's
Like,
garbage.
It's a piece of shit, like.
Like, we started this whole conversation today with you saying I am the Eggman, and I responded with I am not the Walrus.
Yeah.
Like that's a literal lyric from a Beatles. It's nonsense.
Yeah, it's
Like, it's
completely.
literal nonsense. It doesn't make it.
Yeah.
But like they're regarded as like seminal classics of like pop music, and it's just
Yeah,
like
completely.
yeah. So why can't Oasis write a song called Digby's Dinner?
That's bad though, that song. I mean, like, they have lots of songs that I think are legitimately good. Like, I think if like Massive Attack, you know, on their latest album is called Dig Out Your Soul from 2008. There's a track on it called Falling Down, and it's a Noel Gallagher song. It's just him, but it's very psychedelic. And I just, if Massive Attack released that song, everyone would be fucking all over it. Like, they'd be saying, or if it was like Chemical Brothers featuring Noel Gallagher or something like that.
Yeah.
It's a really fucking good song, really, really good. But because it's Oasis, it just doesn't get any appreciation. And I guess if you put out as much shit as they have, that's what happens.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I just think that it's a shame that we have turned against them so aggressively when they're just, I don't know.
They were just the the Nickelback of the 90s, weren't they?
They're just a great bunch of lads.
They are just a great bunch of apart from
That's like the most untrue thing I've ever said, by the way. They
Apart
were
from
not a
Liam.
great bunch of lads.
apart from Liam and Noel.
No, I think Noel's great.
He's still a bit of a cunt though, isn't he?
I don't think so. Like,
He's still, I mean, he's more likable than a lot of people.
I just loved the way he was asked about, like, Lady Gaga's album, and he just said something like, yeah, and it's great, and it's arty, and, like, I love that and stuff, but, like, I mean, you can go into a record studio and, like, shit on an egg, but it's still just an egg with shit on it. This is from an interview with, like, what is he, like, 46 years old?
Yeah.
Oh my god, I can't get enough of that, though. Because, like, I guess I really love, like, spontaneous zaniness.
Yeah.
Like, I love that Kanye, he just starts shouting that he is the nucleus and stuff like that. Like, I don't know, I guess, like, that could be just me being wrong. But I would say no. I would say Noel Gallagher is great, and it is the other heathens who are wrong.
Yeah.
But Liam can actually fuck off.
Yeah.
But the point is, I think there's a good story to be told in that documentary, and I even though they're terrible and stuff like that, or whatever we're supposed to think, I think it's a really important story about, like, two brothers from a council estate who were just like, fuck it, we're gonna be in a band or whatever. Like, when Liam Gallagher used to sign on for benefits, he used to sign on for the Dole every week, and he went into his guy who was supposed to tell him what career he's supposed to do or whatever, and Liam said, alright, I'm going off the Dole now, I'm going to be a rock star, I've just signed a 5-album deal with Columbia. Like, that's fucking awesome. Like, is that not what we want? Like, I don't know. Like,
I mean, what, as a society?
yeah, it's what we all want, right?
Well, we want people off the Dole. I think that's...
Yeah. And that's the point I'm trying to make. Get off benefits.
Get off benefits.
And join a band.
Get in a band. Yeah.
Yeah.
An honest day's work for an honest day's pay.
I would just say watch the trailer for the documentary.
Watch a lot of trailers. Like, if you want to get excited, just go onto YouTube and, like, type in trailers.
Yes.
It'll kind of, like, make you excited for everything, really. even if it's just garbage. Just, I don't know what the moral is here. Hype is good.
I don't think it's that hype is good or that hype is bad. I think it's just that hype is a thing.
It's definitely a thing.
And you can't deny that. It's
No.
a thing that exists in the world.
It is.
Yeah, I don't know. There are so many instances that I can recall of me just being super hyped about a thing and telling everyone about it and never shutting up about it, and then the thing happens and I'm just like,
I think that's part of the excitement, though, isn't it? Like, going and telling your friends, like, oh, have you seen that fucking new trailer for that thing? And you go, yeah, it's so amazing. Did you see that part where you blah, 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 blah? And then, yeah, I think it opens up a question here about something else, and then you get into a big, long discussion, and that's part of the excitement. Like, actually going to see the movie or listening to the thing, like, 6 months later, it isn't really as exciting.
Yeah.
It's that sort of like, little dance that you do around, like, how excited you are about.
yeah.
You know.
I love, like, when you find out that thing is being released.
Yeah.
I love that blissful certainty you have that it is going to be the best thing ever.
Yeah.
Like fucking Terminator Genesis.
Yeah.
Like me being like, oh wow, fucking can't wait for that.
Yeah.
But that was one of the few things where I saw the trailer and I was like, well, fuck that, I'm not watching that.
Yeah, no, the trailer was legitimately bad for that.
Did you watch the movie?
Yeah.
Oh,
I
wow.
watched it sometime last year, actually. Oh, no, when are we now? We're like September now, aren't we? I
Yeah.
think it's this year, though. I watched it at the beginning of this year. Yeah, not good at all.
Yeah, I didn't watch it for that reason. Because I anticipated it not being good. Because I consume pop culture correctly.
Yeah.
Unlike you.
No, I do consume it wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You should probably maybe work on that and then
Yeah.
continue living your life and things like that.
Yeah. I don't know.
So, you know what's funny is that like every single week that the Midnight Hour is coming up, I tweet like something like some fucking The Midnight Hour book by some nobody or whatever
Yeah.
to let people know that the Midnight Hour is happening. And like I get like so many likes on those things. Like sometimes it goes as high as like 70 likes.
Mm.
And I'm always like, I always kind of think to myself like, Jesus, those people are going to be so fucking let down when they...
But that in itself is like a meta like approach. We're hyping these poor people up.
Yeah.
Like, this is gonna be so amazing, and like these people are looking forward to the Midnight Hour, and like, oh, this is gonna be so great. And then they listen to it and like, these two idiots
Yeah.
have just like talked for ages about like what they usually talk about.
Yeah.
Again.
Yep.
Yeah.
That is what happens.
Yeah.
And people still get hyped.
Yeah.
That's-
Because one day they're expecting it to be really great, and
Yeah.
we've got them hooked now. That's the thing.
Yeah, exactly. And
Yeah.
ultimately, who are we to...
Tell them otherwise.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We could make something good one day.
It's unlikely.
I think that's why the moral here is just keep listening. Because we might do something good. Or not.
Good night, everybody. Keep watching the skis. So overall,
I think it's quite good.
I think it was decent.
But I don't mind as long as there's a bed beneath the stars that shine. I'll be fine. But give me a minute. A man's got a limit. I can't get a life if my heart's not in it. Yeah.
I feel like I should have added in the intro that this song just speaks to me because it's about being a lazy bastard, and let's face it, do you see this podcast on a daily basis? For real though, thanks for listening. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Apologies about the quality of the audio. Unfortunately, there's nothing we can do until we get Loosemore a new Skype. So, in fact, get him a new mic. Let's get him a new laptop. Let's someone open a GoFundMe page to make that happen. We'll catch you guys next time. Not sure specifically when it will be. I do have another one recorded, but I was kind of waiting to stockpile content, and with Jack being suspended indefinitely, kind of need a new host. So I don't know. Let's see what happens in the meantime. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed this episode and it's enough to hold you until the next time. I've been El De Niro. We've been the Midnight Hour. I've been talking for way too long. See you later.